Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and especially to my fellow New Yorkers. It's Bob Guns bringing you the Concern Forum all the way from Kampala, Uganda. Uh, just moved over here recently and I left New York, had an idea for a media enterprise. Uh, Previously, I did the show out of Manhattan at the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Shout out to my friends there at Manhattan Neighborhood Network, or MNN as we call it. And I just got a crazy idea in my head that I would come back here to the motherland. Now, this is the second time I'm doing this show from here. And as you can see, everything is pretty much bare bones. Um, Got, quite a few things going on. I had to find a place to live, number one. Number two, I'm making preparations to get married beginning of next month. And so it's pretty busy. It's late at night, it's like 10:34 here in Kampala. And really, instead of working, how should I say, trying to fix this bare wall behind me and maybe put up some posters or a bookshelf or what have you. I figured I'd just go ahead and run it like this because so many things are happening so quickly that I just felt I wanted to get right to it. And I tell you quite frankly, I usually don't go to sleep till about 1:00, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm so busy. Ah, here we go. Receipts prove that the Department of Justice repeatedly lied to the judge. Legal expert Justice Department whistleblower Erez Reveni sounded the alarm about those in the department around Kilmar Abrego, I believe Garcia's case. You know, the guy that they shipped out of the country because they said he was a gangbanger, and now he's back in the country. And apparently, this guy, he might not be the gangbanger that they claim, the Trump administration claims he was. Um, things like that keep me up at night. Uh, what Donald is doing to the economy with the tariff wars and what have you, I'm really worried that I might not have a home and a country to come back to. Um, and that really worries me, disturbs me greatly. I'm a disabled veteran, and I really care about my country. And like I said, I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised. And another thing that really piques my interest is the mayoral election that's taking place right now with Brother Mandami, who, by the way, it's just pure coincidence, happens to be from right here in Uganda. So, how's that for fate? But anyway, getting back to the point, I'm very upset. It's one of the things another one of the things that keeps me up at night. I'm a registered Democrat, but I am also a member of DSA, and I'm really upset with a lot of my elected Democrats, and of course the Wiggles uh, at the DNC, basically trying to rain on Mr. Mondami's parade. Now, I think that, oh, by the way, I hope you don't mind the music in the background, but I know since I've been here late at night sometimes and I'm sitting up, I gotta listen to my Billy Joel. So I hope that you folks don't find that disturbing, right? I'm kind of chilling here, not shaving. I'm thinking about growing a beard. I want to see how that turns out in a week or two. But it's nice over here, you know. It's very quiet at night. And, I have a chance to think and ponder about my life and also ponder about the things that are happening now. As I was saying about the elections in New York. Now, I'm kind of ticked. The reason being, look, let's face it, right? Democrats, progressives, people of the left, look, we're on the side of the angels, as far as I'm concerned. But see, the problem is that if you're not willing to stand up and fight out loud for what you know to be right, people have a tendency to lose faith in you. And that's what happened this past November. A lot of folks lost faith in the Democratic Party. And that's how the orange baby God man got back into the White House. Mm. And, I'm hearing all this crap, not just from Republicans, right, but from so-called mainstream regular Democrats elected and, how should I say, party operators that, oh, and that means a socialist, terrible, wow, wow, wow. And what really, really, really gets to me is the fact that the base of the party, people like you and me, um, right now we don't have faith in our Democratic Party people. Now, don't get me wrong, you have some shining stars right now in the Democratic Party, okay? That young black lady from Texas. We have a couple of senators and a couple of congressmen who give them hell. And that's exactly what they deserve. And I appreciate that. I love that. But I'm just saying, on a whole, especially in a place like New York, they really put it this way: the Democratic Party has fallen real short of expectations. And I say this as a registered Democrat who votes in every election. And I always vote for the Democrat. But I just got to I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of suspicious, just like about the other 65, 70% of registered Democrats. Um, Now you got Adams, right, the present mayor. I suppose he's going to run as an independent. And I'm asking myself, why in the hell would a black American politician, elected official, number one, he got himself in a lot of trouble, right? And who does he run? Who are you going to call? He calls Trump. And he goes to that corrupt Trump Justice Department to basically save his ass from getting prosecuted. And I'm trying to understand, why would anybody, excuse me a second. I just turned this down a little bit. I ain't turning it off because I want to hear my Billy Joel and speak to you at the same time. But getting back to the point, who in the hell, or I should say, what in the hell makes him think that the people of New York City are going to, re-embrace this guy for a second shot at the mayor's seat when he's proven himself a person of little character? Because only people of little character hang around Trump and his Justice Department. And I think that that's the way it should be, quite frankly. I get so tired of hearing, well, Mandami has never run anything. Well, he's an elected assemblyman. He is aware of the problems of his district and of all the other districts in New York City. And quite frankly, that should be enough. I mean, I know that we do not live in the time of the founding fathers, right? Remember, the idea was that, you have your own thing that you do, and you take out time to do some public service, do it for a while, and move on. I understand that life is a lot more complicated in the 21st century than it was in the 18th. But the basic principle still remains. You have a person that has some knowledge of, hey, what is state government all about? And how does that impact city government? And his heart's in the right place, and his mind is in the right place. And as far as I'm concerned, hey, that's cool in the game. Because look what we did in 2016, right? We elected the guy, a failed businessman. I say failed because even though he was wealthy, let's not forget, Trump bankrupted businesses, what, 6 times? One of those times, I think it was the fifth or the sixth time he tried to come to New York City to try and get along. And if I'm not mistaken, the city told him to go take a flying leap. But see, we're not talking about a superstar business guy here. Trump is very clever. He's very good at selling his own BS for folks who are willing to listen to it. But as far as being an experienced person in government, no. And look, can we say something once and for all, right? Because I hear people who say the most dumbest thing. Well, you got to run the government like you run a business. No, countries are not businesses, okay? A business cannot tell you, listen, I need about 120,000 young men and women to go to the other side of the world and die, or take a chance on dying, or take a chance on coming back with missing limbs, missing faces, missing feet, missing legs, right? Our government can do that. Our business can't. There's a flood in West Virginia, right? The government's supposed to be there to take care of that. That's not a business venture. And I think that that's something that has been, a lot of people have that confused in their mind. Is government sometimes a little bit unwieldy, right? Maybe even a little bit wasteful. Yeah, in a democracy, yeah, that does happen sometimes. You know, you got kids out there as they're going through life, they screw up. What do? Just, oh, well, he screwed up or she screwed up. Well, they dump them in the garbage and start over. No, you don't do that. And that's the same thing with government, right? It takes work, okay? Uh, this crazy idea about, oh, well, it's supposed to be more business-like. You can't do human beings like that. All right, they tried that. Remember? We called it the Roaring 20 back in the 1920s. How was it? I think it was Calvin Coolidge. The business of America is business. Yeah, and what happened? 2 years later, boom, the Great Depression. Okay? And here we go again. Supreme Court hands Trump a major win and a bid to dismantle the education department. Now, just think about this. This is the whole Republican frame of mind. We're in the 21st century. We're talking about going back to the moon. We're talking about setting up shop on Mars, right? You're talking about innovation. We're talking about being competitive with the rest of the world. And what's one of the first things this administration does? Hey, let's close down the Department of Education and make everybody ignorant. You even have Republicans out there saying that they want to abolish public education. And I'm just wondering, is there a way, child? My personal opinion, and I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but what the hell? I think that parents who raised their kids for the 19th century, they're guilty. They should be convicted of child abuse. Quite frankly, I just came up with this about. I swear, by the Blessed Mother, about 2 days ago, I came up with this, right? Because I said, well, it's so stupid what these Republicans are trying to do. And remember, I come out of a Republican family, a black Republican family in Harlem, okay? Which, especially for people of my age group, that's not really a big thing, okay? Because if you know anything about the 50s and the 60s, you know that most black folks were registered Republicans. They voted Democratic. I know a lot of them voted Democratic, especially after Jack Kennedy came on the scene, but we were registered Republicans all. If not most of us, I'd say a huge percentage of us, right? But that was a different party. What we have today, this is not the Republican Party. And so people need to understand that this is an embryonic fascist party, okay, that Trump has taken over. So I just want to get the decks cleared on that one. But getting back to New York and Mandami, you know what Mandami's capital sin is? Because personally, I think that if he showed up announcing his candidacy wearing a pink tutu, I don't think that would not have set off alarm bells. Or would set off the alarm bells is the fact that he answered a question in that debate. And I think the commentators who asked that question had one hell of a nerve. And shoot, I forgot what network that was that the debate was on. But frankly, I think that that particular station, they need to be indicted for malpractice. Okay, media malpractice, quite frankly. How many? I know Cuomo was up there. Was Adams up there? And two or three other cats, right? And the lady that's the head of the city council, I don't know what the hell was on her mind. But the question, and I understand, okay, I'm Navy, all right? No, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I used to believe that, right? But the question that they asked at that debate was truly dumb. If you're elected mayor, where's the first place that you're going to go? Now, we got in New York City, we have a problem with violence. We have a problem with drugs, especially fentanyl, okay, being used to cut all the narcotics. Okay, we have a problem in terms of people being able to see doctors. We have a problem with people being able to have 3 square meals a day. We have a problem with people who have to live in their cars or live in shelters or live in the streets. We have a problem with the children of those people having to live in cars or live in shelters or live in the damn streets, right? We have a problem with public transportation. It sucks, all right? And I say that having been born, and I was practically born in the subways, all right? It's terrible. I know when I came back from the Gulf War, I couldn't believe how bad things had really started to get, had gotten, excuse me. And they're much worse now. And it's just, for those people, those so-called journalists, those so-called New York journalists to ask the question that they ask. I find it insulting. I find it a betrayal of New Yorkers. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go as soon as you're elected? Where do you plan to go? Once you get elected. I mean, what the hell is it? What the hell are they supposed to? What's the answer to that? Gee, I want to go to Disney World. I mean, you have just been elected the mayor of New York City, still one of the best known, greatest cities on the planet. Why in the hell are you going to go any damn place? Why is that even a freaking issue? It doesn't, I'm sorry, it doesn't compute. And what did Madami say? He said something to the effect of, well, hey, if I'm just been elected mayor, I'm going to stay in New York and I'm going to deal with the problems that New Yorkers are dealing with. Makes sense to me. you know, if you're not going to do that, then what the hell did you run for mayor for in the first place? I mean, my God, our brains have turned to schnurd over the last 10 years. I mean, really. And that was taken by uh, far too many establishment Democrats and naturally Republicans to be some type of like anti-Semitic thing. Oh, here we go. No means no. Andrew Cuomo buried in mockery for refusing to accept loss. Cuomo was routed in a shock upset last month when Democrats rejected him in the primary for mayor of New York City in favor of Mandami. You know, one thing, and this goes for establishment Democrats and Trump MAGA Republicans, right? I'm not stupid. Now, you might not like some of the views that I hold, but I'm not stupid. Now, we got a lot of people in this country. Some of them have views I don't think, I don't particularly care for, but they're not stupid, right? And I think that one of the problems that we have in this country about politics that is a real threat to our democracy is that many people feel that their politicians from both parties think that they're stupid. Don't come, you already got a rap sheet while you were in office the last time. Why the hell do you think you're going to come to another, and take a shot running for another office, right? And think that, oh, well, they're going to welcome me with open arms. Yeah, I just, it's just like our mayor, Adams, there. It's like I said before, this guy was doing some kind of hokey dokey, hanky panky. Now, is he guilty? Who knows? You know, I know I'm accused of something. The first thing that'll come out of my mouth is, listen, damn it, I want to have my trial. I demand to be heard. I demand for the evidence against me to be presented in open court. And then we'll take it to the next step and see, tried, I'm guilty or I'm not guilty, whatever. But as soon as I see that I'm getting, I'm starting to get hot water for the choices that I made, instead of standing up for the justice system and saying, yeah, let's go to court and let's see what's what. No, I'm going to run to the Department of Justice, this Department of Justice that allows people in America to be kidnapped off the streets without warrant, and that's who you're running to for your protector, right? The head of whom is a convicted sexual abuser, business thief, right? Draft dodger. I throw that in. I got like 20 some odd years military, so I throw that one in because it bothers me, all right? But this is the people that you're going to run to. And then you're going to come back to New Yorkers and say, well, hey, man, I'm your mayor. Give me another shot. I don't, I don't understand these guys. I really don't. You know. So you're going to jump on Madami and you're going to accuse this man of being an anti-Semite because he says the first thing he's going to do is try and take care of business in New York City. Listen, as far as his proposals are concerned, I don't know. Will they work? Who knows? Anybody that gets elected to office, it's a crapshoot. But that's what we call democracy. See, guy runs for office, a gal runs for office. Let them shoot their mouth off, and if you like what they say, you vote for them. And then you see if what they said matches their ability to make it happen, or maybe they might be great people, but their particular plan might just not work. You know how many things FDR tried when he was elected president? Everybody looks back, oh, FDR was such a great man, great president. Hey, look, he came in there, he had been governor of New York, well, as far as being a president, and he had a bunch of ideas. A lot of them didn't work. A lot of them didn't, he wasn't able to push through. But the overall good that he did saved the nation. And for you people out there who always think about the dollar, thank FDR, okay? Because he saved you, right? When you were too stupid to save yourself. I'm talking to all you rich elite so-and-sos out there, all right? Honest, intelligent Republicans agree with that, by the way, okay? Who was it? President Eisenhower? Oh, he was a real loony liberal from the left, right? Yeah. What did he say? Anybody that would try and dismantle the New Deal is a damn fool. Okay, and that's the Republican president of the United States. That happened to win World War II in Europe, along with the help of the Soviet Union. But yeah, so this idea about, attacking Madami's ideas because, oh, they're too socialist. Listen, um, America, when it comes to education, right, we're not even in the top 5. We should be, but we're not. I think what Japan is number 1, Germany is number 5, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, like that. All right. So we're not up there. All right. We're not raising a nation of Rhodes scholars here. Okay. So we got to understand that first of all, and perhaps that's the reason why it's so easy to scare many Americans with words. Socialism. Oh, socialism. He's a crony. Two different words, people. Two different words. Socialism is a system by which the government, meaning us, because remember now, in democracy, we are the government, right? It means that we do things together as a government that we cannot do as individuals, right? My favorite example, and I know this might be a bit crass, but my favorite example, going to the toilet. Hmm? Yeah. How many of you out there take care of your own waste. You don't. You have a department of what? Sanitation or waste management or whatever you want to call it, right? You don't go take care of your business and if you get along well, maybe your neighbor's business. We don't do it like that. We don't have outhouses in the city. All right, maybe upstate you have spots like that, but generally cities do not have outhouses. Right? We have a department made up of people whose job that is. Second example, law enforcement. Somebody, boom, robs you, hits you, hurts you and yours, right? Basically, we have law enforcement that is supposed to be out there to protect us or to go out and apprehend the alleged perpetrator, right? We don't form vigilante mobs, okay, and hang people from lampposts like they used to do in the old South. And from what I've heard, every now and then they still get away with it, but generally we don't do that, all right? We have a law enforcement, okay? That's socialism, right? Because the government, which is you, are doing the things that we're not doing or we're not allowed to do or we're not supposed to do as individuals. Now, of course, there's exceptions to everything. I mean, if I'm out there in the street and I'm getting ready to get jumped on, well, I'm going to do what I can for myself there, right then and there. But generally, that's not the way it's supposed to work, right? As again, I repeat, we have systems set up by the government, meaning us, to take care of things that we ourselves cannot do as individuals. That's all it means. So all this crock about, oh, palpitations, they're getting ready to elect a socialist. Oh man, please, right? When I was a kid, I was in the United States Army. When I went to college for a couple of years and came back to the military, I was in the United States Navy, which I consider my primary branch of service. Wasn't in Bobby Gummis's Navy, right? Wasn't in the Harlem Navy, right? I was in the United States Navy, which represents all of us, okay? Because defense of the nation is a government responsibility, meaning all of us. We take that upon ourselves as a government, right? Now you get a better picture of what socialism really means. Now, either I also hear this business about, well, I've never seen socialism work anywhere. Well, you're a lying ass, or you're illiterate. Okay, I've served with people from other nations, Britain, right? Belgium, Germany, Luxembourg. They all have socialist governments or they have socialism in their government. They have regular, socialist or workers' parties, what have you. Everybody's thinking about, in America, a lot of people think about, when you say socialism, they're thinking, oh, Russia, oh, China, oh, North Korea. Listen, Britain and America, they're both democracies, right? But they're different, okay? So this idea that somehow Mondani wants to basically, I don't know, paint City Hall red, what have you, that's, now, it's pretty stupid, to be honest about it, okay? Uh, and on a more serious note, I detest some of these elected Democrats. And Democratic Party functionaries to talk this bullshit, and that's exactly what it is, bullshit, about Madami being an anti-Semite. Tell you something, and I'm digressing. You know, growing up in Harlem, oh, and I'm talking about like the west part of Harlem, like on Amsterdam Avenue, you know, got on South Street, Broadway, what have you. I went to Catholic school for the most part, from about the fourth grade all the way up to my junior year in high school. Catholic school. And I think I mentioned I was born at St. Luke's Hospital, 113th in Amsterdam. Started out at the, what is it, 452 West 112th Street, right down from, was it 8th Avenue? And then when I was about 5, we moved into the Grant Projects. And I was there till I won't say grew up, because I was 17 when I left home to go into service the first time. But in between that time, I Catholic school education, also attended Riverside Church, an interdenominational church, even sang in the choir. Uh, Attended the was it Yeshiva Seminary there on what's that 123rd Street and Broadway. I used to go there for the supper, the whole Passover thing. Um, and of course, I also attended, Catholic Mass, and I was an altar boy, hell. So the whole, anti-ethnic, anti-Jewish thing, right? I mean, I had heard of it, you know. I really never really confronted that growing up. I didn't come across real virulent anti-Semitism and anti-Latino. I mean, pardon me for saying this. I'm just speaking facts here. I never heard from another human being the term wetback or kike until I was a grown freaking man, a young man in the Navy, in a fighter squadron stationed at Jacksonville, Florida. Right? And that's like 1987, 88, right? And as a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons, and I mean, I handled it badly. And I love the Navy, okay? If somebody were to come to me right now and say, "Boom, the magic time machine, I'm sending you back to 1979 so you can join the Navy all over again." I'll be, yeah, take me, right? Well, hold on a second, because that would mean, well, yeah, I would be out by now. I'm getting ready to say I would hate like hell to have Trump for commander in chief. But by the time he got in 2015, I would have already done my, what, 20 years, 20, 30 years, whatever. So yeah, I would do it over again in a heartbeat. But I had to admit, and that's why I will never have any respect or love for the state of Florida. Because that's when I first saw, I mean, really based on, pure Southern hatred. And I guess by that time, so much stuff had happened that, and let's face it, I mean, I'm not no Muhammad Ali, but you meet me in the dark, I'm almost 6'2", right? And at that time, I was 213. I was a kickboxer, and a lot of things people wanted to say to me, they wouldn't say it to my face. They would say it down below decks. right? What they did say around me was those remarks: kite, wetback, bean picker, Jew bastard, so on, so forth, right? And I had he was technically my supervisor. He was a E6. He was a first class petty officer, and he was a Mexican American chap. I think his name was Rodriguez, right? And his first name was Hernan. No, Richard. And I'm sorry, somebody just came up. Liberal justice unleashes fury over indefensible ruling of the Supreme Court. Sotomayor unleashed fury on her conservative colleagues. Okay, I'm sorry about that, folks. I'll catch up with that. But as I was saying, um, I it, it really bothered me because they would talk to him. And this guy was a first class petty officer. His next step up the line was to be a chief petty officer, which in the Navy and Coast Guard, that's a big thing, right? But it's like they refused to respect this man. And they would say things like, good morning, wetback, good morning, bean picker. And I asked him, I said, man, why are you putting up with that? And he would just say, these guys are assholes. I'm not going to let them, you know, shake up my career. And I mean, I understand where the brother was coming from because he had like three kids, nice wife. I remember that. And I guess he figured if he just stood up and just grabbed one of those bastards and put their head through a wall, it might be charges, filed, this, that, and the other. And I told him, I said, you're a better man than I am. And oh, God, they hated Jews. I mean, I thought I was in a damn concentration camp. And I didn't care for it. I wouldn't put up with it. I wrote an official letter to the commanding officer of the squadron. And, I told him, I said, things get any worse, there's going to be problems in here. Because I said, this is not supposed to be what the Navy is about. And it toned down a little bit. And the new CO of the squadron that came on board, well, that new skipper was a good man. And he got rid of those people and put it like that. But it really, I don't know, it really shook me up. And at the time, my wife, God rest her soul, she passed away some time back. But at that time, we were having our child, my son. And I was just at a point that I said, I just want to get the hell out of here. I want to get out of the South and head back to New York. So Gulf War was getting ready to start, and my enlistment was set up so that I wouldn't. It turned out I didn't have to be there for the whole war, but I was there for like the first couple of months. And I was happy going to war because I knew if I survived, I wouldn't have to come back to Jacksonville, Florida. And that's exactly how it turned out. And then from when I came home, I went into the Navy Reserve, weekend warrior, and got a job with the government. Worked for the Smithsonian Institution, Smithsonian Institute, um, as a management assistant. And well, anyway, that's what happened. But I say that to say that you better be careful when you throw around terms like anti-Semitic. Um, I also notice that they try to do things with my man Mandami's picture. I mean, hey, he's a handsome cat, no doubt about it. But sometimes they try to make him look like he is Bin Laden or some shit like that. Look, we don't need that. And Democrats, especially you people who are in the party, you elected Democrats, you Democrats with the DNC and, this and that, lobby groups and everything, you need to wake the hell up, okay? Because the fact that Mandami gets the applause that he gets from the person in the street, from the Democrat and the independent in the street, you need to wake the hell up and take notice. Seriously. Now, we got a monster in the White House, okay? He has his own police force called ICE. He has his own pressure group called MAGA, right? And that's what you need to be putting your attention to. That and the fact that you got hungry people in this country. You got people who don't have health insurance, okay? You got people who are not getting educated. You got people who are not safe, right? Not only do they have to fear the wild people with guns, right? You have a government that says we're going to take away your defense from natural disasters, right? I think that you should be concerned about that. I think you should be concerned about the fact that you have an administration. They want to starve children by taking away the food stamps, but they want to give a tax write-off for people who buy silencers for their weapons. Okay, those are the things that you need to be concerned about, right? Mandani has a set of programs. A lot of them, to me, they sound damn good. But let's try it. Let's try it and see if it works. We have to try something. The man deserves a chance. Number one. Number two, you also, as a party, again, pardon me, uh, for you delicate folks out there, but as a party, you need to have some balls. We got some Democrats out there that do got good balls, okay? But that needs to be the norm, not the exception, right? Yeah, I know you got a lot of people say, oh, the Democrats, they want to be the nanny. They always lecture me and whatnot. You know what you do with people like that? See, that's the other side of the coin. Sometimes you got to stand up and say, well, hey, if you don't like what I'm saying, screw you. But these are the facts. And if you're not mature enough to handle it, that's your problem. Because remember, the voters, a lot of our voters are not always right in this country. I'll give you an example. It was a real pain in the ass. I mean, people hated for these guys to come around. Nag, 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 right? With their sense of moral rectitude and their lecturing, blah, 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 right? Yeah, you know who they were? They were the abolitionists. And history proved that what they were saying was right. Sometimes being right doesn't mean you're going to be popular, okay? But the main thing that the Democratic Party needs to keep in mind, right now, we're in a situation where people need help. Minor people need help. As a matter of fact, Trump's main supporters are the ones who are getting screwed. Between them and the Latinos, they are getting pardon me, they're getting the shit kicked out of them, right? All the people that supported Trump, they are the ones who are getting body slammed. And you need to have the guts, the balls to go up to their faces and tell them, yeah, you didn't want to go for the black Asian lady, right? And now this is what you have. And you especially need to say that to places like Texas, where, God help us, all those dead people. By the time this thing is over, I will not be surprised if you have close to 300 bodies. I will not be surprised. And oh no, I know I will catch up for this, but yeah, for a large part, that's self-inflicted. And I'm a spiritual person, right? I left the church some time back, but I have my sense of spirituality. And by the way, I loved Pope Francis, okay? And I am not so modern as to believe that sometimes things happen in this world that maybe we don't understand exactly how it went down or why. But maybe the Creator, God, fate, whatever, Allah, Jehovah, whomever, right? Maybe someone's trying to tell us something, right? Because it's damn funny if you talk about Trump loving, MAGA loving places, Texas has got to be up there number one, right? Right there, Mississippi, Alabama, and places like that, Oklahoma, places like that. And look at the devastation that was caused. Those people didn't have a freaking chance. No one, right? What's her name? No, Homeland Security. She was out to lunch. The brand new FEMA director, has this guy even shown up in Texas yet? The one that said, I didn't know there was no such thing. There was such a thing as a hurricane season. And let's face something else. I'm not going to say it was the entire reason why Kamala Harris lost. And her campaign, they did make some mistakes. But let's face it, sex and race had a lot to do with it also. And maybe this might be a turning point for this country. And Donald Trump getting a second shot at the White House could turn out to be the best thing that happened to America. You know why? Because maybe now people will open their eyes and get woke. I've never been able to figure that one out. What the hell is wrong with being awake? But anyway, maybe people in this country will start waking up and start realizing, hey, it's not cool to vote with my bigotry. Maybe I need to start thinking about, voting for what might help me and the rest of my fellow citizens, my friends and my neighbors across racial and party lines. Maybe they'll start to realize racism, bigotry, it can be, not only is it stupid, it can be damn expensive and even fatal. So, getting back to the original point, yeah, we need to give Mandami a chance. And Democrats, you need to get behind this man because he's a winner. Unless you're going to keep trying to work to tear him down so that he doesn't win, which will gain the party and New York absolutely nothing. And as far as, all the rich people will leave, well, hell, rich folks, you already paying high taxes. And if you think that your country or your city is not worth maybe a 1 or 2% raise, maybe you don't belong in New York in the first place. Listen, it's running late. I got housework to do, and it's almost midnight. So listen, take care. Okay, see you next time, and support us. Support the Concerned Forum. Give me give me a check or whatever, right? Or if you don't agree with what I say, you can let me know that too. I'm open-minded, or at least I try to be. Listen, from Kampala Uganda, you folks take care. God bless you, New York. I love being here in Africa, but I miss New York. God help me, I miss the Bronx. Take care. Love you. Peace.